Good morning, Columbia County. Welcome to Columbia County Connect. Little time we have on Friday mornings to talk to some people that's instrumental in the running of government in Columbia County. Appreciate you being here. Would welcome your questions at any time that you have one. Invite you to, if you're not able to look at this now and at least know about it, you can see it on the county website and other social media like Periscope and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and who else, ladies?
That's good.
Okay, that's enough of those. Couple of reminders. Election time coming up. We have a vacancy in the District 3 Commission seat. We have a vacancy in the House District 122. Early voting is going on now. I believe will go on until a week from today. Or is it 2 weeks from today? Anyhow, the Friday before election. So please exercise your right as a involved citizen and vote for the candidate of your choice. I want to mention one thing here that we do regularly in commission meetings is recognition of the Employee of the Month. Sometimes we do team and team of the quarter, employee of the year. Congratulations to Stacy Ursery, athletic programmer for Parks and Recreation. She received the November Employee of the Month award. We had a couple of questions from our previous telecast. We go first to Matt Slaughter, our county engineer and director of engineering services and a ton of other titles. Had a question about, are we ever in our lifetimes going to finish Columbia Road?
Yes.
Give you a disclaimer. That's a DOT project and not a Columbia County project.
That's correct. We have no involvement in the project, but I did call and talk to the contractor yesterday. And their goal is to be done by the end of January. Got some utilities they got to get relocated before they can finalize the project up at close to the intersection of Bel Air. So once they get those out of the way, they'll get back to work. Of course, the holidays are upon us, so we'll have Thanksgiving and Christmas. That'll slow them down. But they're telling me by the end of January that thing should be buttoned up and traffic flowing as designed.
How long has that project been going on?
Several years now. It's at least 2. I think we might be close to 3 now.
We've talked before about how long it takes for highway construction, and I guess this is a good example.
It is. There's a lot of moving parts. You gotta build a project while traffic's driving through the middle of it. So you gotta make sure you keep traffic flowing, and you gotta work with utility companies. So quite a process.
But in fairness to the contractor, utility relocation is a big part of any road project, right?
Absolutely. And that's not a lot they can do about it. You know, with the federal government controls utilities. Contractor's not allowed to touch power lines, not allowed to touch phone lines, cable lines. It's all up to the owner of that line. So the contractor really can't be held responsible for what the utilities are doing. So that's the biggest issue.
And you also have staging problems. I think you can't, some utilities can't work on a power pole until the power is off.
That's correct. Well, they share the poles a lot of times. So the power company will go in and set their poles first, and their lines go on the top, and then communication companies come in behind them and attach to those poles, so they can't all work at the same time. There's one, then the other, and then the other. So
the other question we had was, can we do anything to improve the traffic situation at I-20 and Lewiston Road, and also kind of the timing again on the Lewiston Road widening projects that'll take place from Columbia Road to I-20, then from I-20 into Grovetown?
yes, sir. The TIA program did provide funding to do both those, from Columbia to I-20 and from I-20 into Grovetown. Right now, we are going through our selection process to get our engineer on board for Lewiston Road. We actually went through all the RFQs this week. We picked out our top 3, so we'll bring those folks in the week after Thanksgiving to start interviewing them and pick our engineer, and we'll present to commission to enter into contract. But in the meantime, we're going to, we came up with a plan to add some additional lanes across the bridge. So right now, as you approach the bridge headed southbound, it's 1 lane. The additional lanes are right turn lanes. So we presented that idea to DOT to add an additional lane across the bridge, hopefully get some traffic flowing a little bit faster. Once they look at that, they're telling us that they can approve it. They think they're going to do the work for us. Hopefully that'll happen pretty soon. I talked to DOT yesterday to follow up with them. They're hoping that this will happen hopefully in January. They understand the need. They know we're in a bind out there, that we need to do everything we can to keep traffic flowing until we can get the big project on the ground.
So we don't have any encouragement for the holiday traffic.
If I'll talk with DOT and see if we can't push them. I know it's not a whole lot of work we got to do. A day or two worth of work. It's just getting their crews scheduled to get here to do it. So, but Jimmy Smith is our district engineer, and he's working with me to get this accomplished.
Yeah, Jimmy's been real good to work with. He gives us a lot of attention.
Yes, he does. He's a good man.
Thank you, Matt. If you
Yes,
want to
sir.
stick around and think of something else you'd like to add,
Absolutely.
just
I'll hang
bring
back.
it up. Real happy today to have the Sheriff of Columbia County with us, Clay Whittle. Clay, welcome to Columbia County Connect.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate being here.
How long you been in office?
I took office in April of 1995.
Oh, gosh.
Long time.
95, 05, 15, 20 years, right?
It's getting there. Not a spring chick anymore.
Columbia County is no longer a little sleepy bedroom community. How many people on your force now?
We have 375 employees full-time. We also have about 22 reserve deputies and about 40-plus auxiliary members for the sheriff's office.
When you think about 24-hour-a-day service, 7 days a week, that's not really an awful lot of people for that kind of coverage, is it?
No, it's not, because you basically have 4 shifts of personnel, whether it's in the detention center or out on the street or in dispatch or even in the administrative areas, and it takes a lot of people to be able to cover the county 24 hours a day. And our county is also, a very large county. It's 300-plus square miles, so a lot of folks have to be out there to do that job.
Yeah, people think the normal work week, 40 hours, Monday through Friday. It's a different situation totally when you're trying to cover the day and night and all other, and weekends. So I'm surprised you can make that coverage as well as you do with the number of people. Your department has had a lot of awards, and I believe a lot of top certifications that's equal to the best around the state and the nation. Tell us about that.
Well, accreditation is really the driving force behind the sheriff's office. It's not that well known in the community, unfortunately, but our sheriff's office, we attempted it right after I became sheriff, and we were accredited in 1996 for the first time in the sheriff's office. That was actually the first sheriff's office in the state of Georgia to receive accreditation by CALEA, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement.
The first one?
We were the first ones in Georgia.
Right.
We were the first sheriff's office in Georgia.
159 counties.
Several years later, we chose at that time, we didn't have to do it, but we chose to separate our dispatch center, the 911 communication center, because there's more standards if you certify them separately than the sheriff's office. And the more standards you have, the more scrutinized you are as far as your operation, and the better your operation will be, because it's really what drives your operation. So several years later, we had the 911 communication center accredited also. After that, we then went towards the detention center, and we actually hold 2 accreditations there, one for our healthcare services there, and then one for the detention center itself, the accrediting body for communications. In about, I want to say 2008, I believe it was, the sheriff's office was given an award by the National Sheriff's Association. That award's called the Triple Crown. It's bestowed upon a sheriff's office that holds triple accreditation, both in their jail and their sheriff's office and in their healthcare correctional setting. And we had all 3 of those, plus the one for dispatching, and we received it. It means a lot to me because there are well over 3,000 sheriff's offices in the country. There's less than 100 that hold that Triple Crown award.
Right.
That is a testament in my mind to all of the employees of the sheriff's office that hold those. We're currently the only sheriff's office in Georgia that still holds the Triple Crown award for accreditation.
You need to publicize that more. I bet majority of the people that's here will see this doesn't realize that.
It's been spoken before many times through the news media and other folks, but it just doesn't always ring good on newscasts and things of that nature sometimes. And positive things are hard to get out a lot as opposed to negative things. But really, accreditation is the driving force behind the sheriff's office. It's policies, it's current practices, it's best practices, and it's open, very transparent work by the sheriff's office. It shows people that we're doing the latest that all professionals and institutions say are the right way to do law enforcement. assessors literally come in every 3 years, and they live with us for multiple days. They're basically given the key to the sheriff's office, and they have access to anyone and everyone. They do all of our file reviews. They literally go out with the officers, and they spend time with the officers each day that they're on patrol or working in dispatch, and they query those people. And the purpose of it is to see that they actually do what we say we do as far as our files and our policies and procedures are concerned.
Kind of like our auditors.
Correct. It's a very intense process. The last time, which was March of this past year, we chose to go with a new standard called the Gold Standard Assessment. Now, that's a little different than the normal assessment. The Gold Standard doesn't just look at your policies and directives. It actually looks at your actual processes and the outcomes that you expect of those processes. It's a very thorough, and when I say thorough, it is an extremely thorough, detailed process, and no one can do that just on their own. You actually have to have already been through at least 2 accreditations. They have to be perfect. They have to be top-notch. You can't have any file maintenance, any probationary issues or things of that nature. And you're not just granted it automatically. You actually have to put in for it. We chose to do it this year because we knew we wanted to go a step above. It was challenging, but I think it's one of the best things we did because it showed us where our processes actually worked and showed us some weak areas where we could improve and do things a little differently. But I'm very proud of that gold standard assessment.
People are going to ask, what is the end result of that? And I think you're not just doing this for awards or accreditations. It's transformed into what you do every day.
Absolutely.
For the citizens. Tell us about how the crime rate has been with the rapid increase of population in Columbia County.
Well, actually, I think I gave Kaylee a graph earlier today where we've kept track of the population rate since 1996. I actually took office mid-95. We've been tracking those data. It's interesting to see, and I'm very proud of the fact that the population has risen to almost 140,000. But if you look at the crime graph, our crime graph has gone from around 7,000 or 8,000 actual crimes each year down to just barely over 4,500 crimes per year in 2014. So we've had a steady decrease each year in our crime rate, even though we've had a steady increase in the population rate of Columbia County. Now, our calls for service have certainly gone up simply because you have so many people and they have needs, but our actual crime rate has been reduced every year since 1996. That is absolutely a testament to the men and women of the Sheriff's Office and the fact that they do a good job each day.
Well, I agree, but it's also a testament to the plan you have to improve, which results in these accreditations that's transformed to the field in everyday practice.
That's actually what drives it.
Yeah.
The accreditation process itself is what drives that. It assures that we maintain the most current policies and procedures in law enforcement, and that we maintain a good relationship with the community, because that's also a driving force in CALEA, is that you maintain a good relationship with the community. We couldn't do this job if it were not for our community.
Tell me about some of the various programs you have. I know I take advantage a lot of times of the House Watch program.
Absolutely.
You can register with the Sheriff's Department. They'll look after your premises while you're gone. Especially
this time of year, everybody's going to, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, by the way. Everybody's going to either be home with their loved ones or they're going to be leaving Columbia County to travel across the state. I want to remind everybody about the Vacation House Watch program. All that requires you to do is call our dispatch, 706-541-2800. Tell them that you're going to be out of town. They'll ask you a range of questions. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes talking with the dispatcher. And what that does is it gives us information to go to your home at least twice every shift and physically get out and check your home. They'll check the doors, they'll look at the windows, they'll make sure everything is secure around your home. And what you're doing when you do that is not only are you protecting your own home, but you're helping to protect your neighborhood, because it creates visibility of that officer coming into that neighborhood to look at your house, and it also gives a visibility to the rest of the neighborhood. That one's an extremely important facet of our crime prevention as far as burglaries. Once we started the Vacation House Watch, Our burglaries literally were reduced by 40% in the first year.
Ooh,
And as long as we maintain that, it will help keep the burglaries down in Columbia County. It's a real positive aspect. Another one I want to mention to you today is a campaign we started several years ago called Lock It and Lose It, Lock It or Lose It. Simply lock your car, whether you're at home in your driveway or whether you're out in Columbia County shopping, lock your automobile, take the keys with you, don't leave anything of value visible in your car. It is one of the largest growing crimes in our nation, theft of items from inside automobiles. There's so many electronic devices now that can be handheld and are valuable. The criminals know that. They steal them, they sell them on the black market, and they make good money out of it, generally to purchase drugs. If we keep them visible, they're going to be a target. If we put them up where people can't see them and we lock our car, you're going to help us reduce crime in Columbia County.
remind them too that once you call initially for House Watch, they give you a House Watch number. So the next time you use it, you just give them the number, and it
And they
reduces the time probably to 30 seconds, or
They have
45
the same
seconds.
information already.
Same
logged
information
in.
already there.
Right.
Tell us about the Citizens Gun Safety Program. I took that course, enjoyed it. Great time to learn about law enforcement in the classroom section, and then a one-on-one time at the range.
That's actually a really good class. People are more concerned about their safety today than they were 15 years ago. We've been doing it for over 10 years now. It got very popular after you took the class, Mr. Chairman, because you put it in the water mailer, and that got the information out for us. It's so popular that I actually spoke to Lieutenant Champion this morning, and she advised me that we've got over 100 people on the list today to do a class, and we've already taught 7 classes this year.
That's
It's a great thing to do. If you're interested in it, you can call Lieutenant Champion at 541-2856, and she will help you with that. One of the great things we started doing this year was actually scheduling midweek classes. It's generally on Saturdays, and it's an all-day class. It's 8 hours a day. And of course, it's free. There's no charge to the public, and we feed you a good lunch. But also, if you can do it during the middle of the week, let Lieutenant Champion know that, because we can schedule classes easier during the middle of the week to help folks that don't have to work all the time. So again, 541-2856, Lieutenant Champion, she'll be glad to help you with the Citizens Firearm Course.
Remind them of a couple of things too, Sheriff, that if you don't have a firearm but still want to learn gun safety, you can come on and borrow one of the department's guns.
Correct. We have been keeping, we confiscate guns from criminals on a regular basis. We have been building a very broad range of handguns over the past several years, and we've got just about every make and model out there, whether it's revolvers, semi-automatics. And for folks that don't have a gun, don't have any experience with them, and want to try and decide the type they want to carry, we've got most of them there with the Sheriff's Office, and we're more than willing to let you handle them, to fire them on the range so that you can get an idea of because the function's different between a semi-auto handgun versus a revolver. So we've got those available to the public.
Right. Remind you too that if you have interest in a concealed carry permit, you can go to the probate court. They do a background check. They fingerprint every single finger. And if you check out okay in a couple of weeks, that'll be returned to you. But it's a great thing to have, whether you have a desire to carry a weapon or not. You got a Citizens Law Enforcement Academy thing that's a little more involved and detailed than the gun safety. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, we just graduated our 27th course of the Citizens Law Enforcement Academy last night. We had 15 graduates. What this course is designed to do is and it's voluntary by any member of any adult member of Columbia County. It is a course. It's 10 weeks long. It's held on Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 9:30. It shows you every aspect of the Sheriff's Office, from road patrol to the detention center to dispatch to our investigations, and it gives the citizens an insight into what we actually do every day. And it helps in several ways. One, it improves the relationship between the community and the Sheriff's Office. But it really benefits us. And let me give you the example of that. We're quite often in class in the evening time, and one of our members is given some type of talk on what they do and how they do their processes. And we will have members of the class who are just citizens of the community, and they're usually private sector citizens, who raise their hand and say, have you ever thought about doing X this way? Because they have experience doing something similar to that in the private sector. And then we look into those suggestions they give us, and we find a better way to do something. It makes it more efficient, faster, cost-effective, things of that nature. So it's really a good benefit for the sheriff's office.
Do you have to take a test to graduate?
No
No
you do
test?
not. No test.
Can you drive a patrol car?
No, you can't drive a patrol car. Y'all won't allow that on the insurance.
What if you bring your own insurance?
We can talk.
Anything else you'd like to go over while we're at this time together?
Well, two things. One of the other things that we still do, besides the Citizens Law Enforcement Academy and besides the firearms course that we do, is we also have an Explorer post. Our Explorer post is post 63. What that is that's young men and women, ages 14 to 20. The requirement is, of course, the age limit, and they must have passed the 8th grade. If they are interested in a potential career in law enforcement, the Explorer post is one of the best things they can do, sort of like the Citizens Law Enforcement Academy. They come into the sheriff's office, they join the Explorer post, and they are taught the job of the deputy sheriff. They go, again, everything from detention center, communications, from road patrol. They actually practice doing some of the things that deputies do out there, working accident reports, making arrests, handcuffing techniques, firearms training, all of those things. And they even compete on a state and national level with other Explorer posts across the country for awards in different categories, like burglary investigation and accident investigation, things of that nature. We have had numerous employees that work with us today that started off as explorers while they were in high school. So if there are any young men and women out there, ages 14 to 20, that have graduated from the 8th grade and above, they're eligible to come here in Columbia County and be a member of our Explorer.
How often they meet?
They meet monthly. Yeah, they have meetings, and when they have meetings, it's not just sit-down meetings. They're actually in training. They assist us in other areas. If you will notice, in fact, that's coming up, our Christmas parade. You will see some of the intersections that are being blocked by deputy sheriffs will also have members of the Explorers with those deputy sheriffs out there assisting the community. They do the same thing at the fair every year in the parking of the cars and helping with traffic direction out there, and it gives them great experience.
What other thing you had?
The other one is something for the parents. Stopped. Stopped, STOPPED, is sheriffs telling our parents and promoting educated drivers. That's a program we started several years ago around here that gives you a decal, and that decal is fairly large and it says stopped on it. Very prominent. It's voluntary for parents. Anybody that has a child that drives one of their cars that's under the age of 21 can voluntarily sign up for the stop program with the sheriff's office, and we will give you these decals for these cars. What it does is it tells deputies that are out on the street, if they see some violation of the law and they have a need to stop that particular vehicle, they make sure that they know date, time, number of occupants in the car, where they were, what they were doing, and if any citations were issued. And then the parents get a personal written notification from us so that they're kept appraised of what's going on in their automobile.
My poor old grandson, he's in big trouble.
But I'll tell you this, there's many a kid out there has told me that they know they have that stop sign on the back of their car, and they act accordingly because of it. And that's the whole purpose of it. If that gets our kids to think twice about how they behave when they're driving automobiles out here, the stop program's worth every minute of it. So I encourage any parents that have children that still drive their automobiles under the age of 21, call us and get involved in the stop program. It'll help you keep tabs on where your kids are at night.
That's a great thing there. We're about out of time. Tell us quickly though, bike patrols. We see people riding around on bicycles in uniform, I guess in the more urban areas. How many patrols you got now?
Well, we have two sets. We have a bike patrol that works the east end of Martinez from Columbia Square down to the county line. And then we have another set of bike patrol that works the Evans end all the way up to the Walmart area in Evans. It's primarily around the business districts. Their visibility is very, very high, and their response times are amazingly fast, and they're very personal. They're not in a patrol car. They're up close. You'll be surprised the number of shoplifters and things of that nature that our bike patrol catches. They work real close with all the business owners in their beat areas, and even surprisingly have stopped DUIs before on bicycles. They're a real good portion of law enforcement as far as the business community is concerned, because they're real up close and personal. Works much better than an automobile.
I like seeing those around. They very nice young men and ladies and do a great job. I think safety in Columbia County is paramount with Columbia County government and of course the Sheriff's Department. Said many times that we do a lot of quality of life improvements. We hope in the county, the parks, the recreation areas, all of those things, nice, the government complex. But you know, Sheriff, none of that means anything if you don't feel safe in the environment you're in.
Correct.
All of those other things kind of take a backseat or, second fiddle to feeling safe. And that's one of the great things about Columbia County, and that goes right back to the Sheriff's Department and his requirements to keep the county safe and make everyone able to enjoy the other fine things we have in the county.
With that, can I remind you about something?
Absolutely.
That I almost forgot about. On November the 24th, we are having, and I'll give that to you, Ron, just so you can see it. Maybe we can put it up on the screen. We are having a Houses of Worship Safety and Security Summit, and it's going to be in Augusta at the Augusta University at the Performing Arts
Maxwell
Theater.
Performing Arts Theater.
Maxwell Performing Arts Theater. It's November the 24th. It starts at 8:30 and goes to 11:30. It's for all houses of worship in the Augusta area. It's not just Columbia County, Richmond County. There's all types of folks on the federal level, the FBI, the Science and Technology branch, the National Institute of Justice will all be there, because that is becoming a major concern in our country, is the safety and security of everyone while they're at their houses of worship. We're bringing them all together to discuss safety issues and help them to be able to secure their facilities during their times of worship.
It's a sad state of affairs when you have to have this kind of thing, but it is necessary. I think churches now by law are allowed to vote to allow concealed carry within the congregation, but very few want to do that.
Right.
And it's been a mystery to me is why not? Because where in the world would you want to protect your loved ones more than in the worship service?
Well, unfortunately, it's become a target.
Yeah.
And so we've got to react to it now as a target.
As the sheriff said, happy Thanksgiving. Excuse me. We won't be here next week because we'll be on Thanksgiving holiday. Look forward to seeing you a couple of weeks from now. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for supporting the Columbia County Sheriff and Columbia County. I forgot to ask, do you have anything else? I guess you did.
Thanks, Sheriff, for all you do.
Happy Thanksgiving.